Fortnite piece control is one of the essential things you guys need to have to be a good Fortnite player, and in this video I'm going to go over some of the tips and tricks I wish I knew when I first started when it came to piece control. Now, to be completely honest with you guys, this video is not going to be outlining some of the piece control moves. It's strictly going to be tips and tricks that help me be more efficient with my piece control and some of the things I wish that most players would actually consider when learning and practicing their piece control moves. So the first thing I want to talk about is learning how to place cones properly. Now, a lot of Fortnite players don't know how to place one of the best pieces in the game properly, and I'm going to go over some of the things you guys should know when it comes to placing cones. The first thing you're going to want to know about placing cones is they can be placed at the furthest distance relative to all the other pieces. I can place a cone from way down here on both sides. I'm really far. You would not be able to place a floor that far away in any circumstance. So it's really good to know how far away you can place cones. You can cone an opposing player from very far away. For example, if I had an enemy on that ramp, I'd be able to cone that ramp from way back here. I don't have to be right up here as I would with a ramp floor, so it's good to know that the cones can be placed at a very great distance. This also goes for placing cones from far away. You can also place cones from this far away in your opponent's box. You don't have to actually be really close. I can place them from way back here, not even really on the piece in front of me. I can place the cone this far, and that's just something that I wish I had known about when I first started learning how to use piece control, as cones are one of the most important pieces when it comes to piece control. Another thing to know is the angles in which you can place cones in a box. You can place cones pretty tight close to the wall. Like, I'm right up against my wall and I can place a cone there or a ramp, but it's really nice to know the angle in which you can actually place your cone. I can have this piece right here and actually still cone my opponent from this far. I also can get the top cone as well. Another thing when it comes to cones is learning how to place them above and below you at all times. So it's a small movement. It's just from here to here. It's a little squiggle like this. So when you're moving or tunneling, you can actually go ahead and go like this, and it will place a cone up and below. So like this. And what that does is it allows you to place the cones above and below you, as you can see, and that little squiggle movement will allow you to effectively piece up your opponent with cones without even having to think about it. Another thing you guys will want to know is how to place a cone on the other side of your wall. If you look at the upper edge of a wall, you'll be able to actually place the cone on the other side. So right now I don't even have a piece above me, and all I have to do is look above the wall and I'm able to place the cone on the other side, as you can see there. So literally being able to do this can really throw off your opponent by being able to learn how to place that cone instead of above yourself, above your opponent. So the last thing I want to talk about is being able to place your cone underneath opponents through their floors. So you'll see here, I can actually, even though this whole box is sealed off completely, it has all four walls, top and bottom, I can actually look underneath it and place a cone in their box. I'll open this up so you can see what this looks like. I'm not even actually looking inside. I'll close that up so you can see. I'll also place a window edit. Maybe that will let you see that. I'm gonna place another one. I'm able to place a cone in their box, even when it's fully sealed off. And that's just something I wish I had known. You can actually open this up while they're not looking and place it in their box, which is a really nice thing to know in certain situations. It's just one of those things. Another thing is if you have an opponent above you and they're fully boxed like this, but they don't have a cone in their box, you can actually place your cone in their box, jump up to the side, and be able to engage them with a cone in their box. So being able to place cones above their floor is just something you guys should keep in mind when piece controlling people. So that's the first tip, is learning how to use cones appropriately when using piece control. Before I get into the second tip, please let me know in the comment section below what tip you found to be the most useful, and maybe something that you think would be of use to other players when it comes to learning piece control. With that being said, let's take a look at the second thing that I wish I had known for tips and tricks when it comes to piece control in Fortnite. So the second thing I would have liked to know is to learn to piece control behind cover. Nothing's worse than when you actually full piece your opponent and you just get pumped in the face because you're busy with your map out and they're looking at you with their shotgun. This can be completely avoided by learning how to piece control behind cover. And there's two main ways you're going to be able to do this. You can either edit a window and place the cones above and below, and also the walls through a window edit behind a nice peak. You can do that through any type of window edit, which is really nice. You can actually full piece someone pretty much behind cover. The next way you guys can go ahead and do that is by using a wall. Now I know that seems a little bit vague, but you can actually place a wall of any type and you don't have to do window edit. So one of the things you'll see people do is right here, I'm behind cover. If my opponent's over there on that piece, I'll be able to actually piece them up from right here, and I'm behind cover. If they're standing in the corner, they won't be able to shoot me. So that's really nice, is using this wall, this line, to piece your opponents. I'll show you one more time. Pretend I had a wall here. I can actually full piece them and I'm behind cover, using this here to protect myself from their peek. And you can actually full piece them. In a perfect world, I'd have this wall as well, and I can full piece them and take my shot. Now, learning how to do things behind cover, you can actually use a peanut butter edit too, but that takes a little bit of practice, and it's not the best because it's a wide open edit. When you're piece controlling someone behind cover and trying to learn these things, you want to be behind cover as much as possible. So using a wide open edit is not something I'd recommend. So a window edit or using that wall to give yourself cover while piecing up your opponent is definitely the way I'd recommend going ahead and learning to piece control behind cover. The third tip that's really helpful for players when it comes to learning to piece control is adding it to your basic movement. Make it part of your regular movement to learn how to piece control. The basic thing you guys should be adding to your retakes and stuff like that is going to be the cone plus the walls. So it's going to look like this, like how I showed you earlier. So what you might do is something, maybe you'll have a retake like this and you come out, and what you've seen there is out of my retake here that I usually like to do, I actually did a whole cone and walls, which actually would full piece my opponent. I might come out with a triple edit and then same thing, I've added this in, I might have full pieced my opponent there. Maybe I do a side jump like this, and then when I come out, I full piece there. And adding this simple movement of the cone, walls, and cones there is going to make it so much easier to full piece. And usually it's going to look like cone, and then the walls. And the reason being is, I know you can't do that off of nothing because you need the wall there to be able to do that, is because when you're doing retakes and stuff, you'll usually have a wall in front of you which will attach this cone for you. You don't need those back walls yet, and then you'll be able to go like this. So if I'm doing a triple edit, for example, I can place, sorry if I had done a triple edit, I can place the cones first, no problem, and then the walls. Every single time, cone, then walls. And that will just be a nice addition to your movement, and then actually adding it to your retakes from all angles. So that's just kind of adding it in basically, but let's just say I come up here, I was gonna come out here, but instead I'm gonna go like this out here, and I full piece my opponent here. Maybe I do something like this where I come out here and I do the same thing. I might full piece them there underneath my ramp and I have them full piece there. So adding it to your regular movement and actually trying it from different angles. But the point is that you should be adding this basic piece control move into your basic retakes and your movement. The fourth trick that you guys should be taking advantage of when it comes to learning how to piece control and piece control effectively is learn to pre-piece control. Now there's a few ways you might see yourself pre-piecing people, and I'll show you some of the examples that you will find. So the first example that you'll find is if you have an opponent over here on this cone right here, right? And so if you have an opponent here on this floor right here where this grappler is, and you somehow get a ramp in their box, most of the times they'll actually drop down. It's a lot of people's interesting. And what I'll do is, even before I go to place the cone, the floor in their, or before I even go place the ramp in their box, is I'll pre-piece this like this, and then when I go to place the ramp down, so I'll actually drop down onto my cone, and I'm already waiting for them. So pre-piecing from the top to the bottom is a very popular thing. You'll see a lot of good players do. Another thing you'll see is the pre-piecing from the left and right. So if I have an opponent in this box and I full piece them, a lot of the times they'll move to the left or right instead of moving backwards. And what you can do there is just simply go like this, 2 cones in the walls, and you've pre-pieced them full piece to shoot them. Same thing goes here. It's a little harder on the left side, I find, but you can also pre-piece them here. And you don't need to have all the pieces. Even if you just have the cone in this wall, you have that box. That box is essentially yours. So pre-piecing left to right before they go there, I might pickaxe this wall and then full out, or I might even make a fake edit on this wall and reset and then full out pre-piece this side, because I know maybe my opponent's going to go to the right and I have a free shot on them. Very, very effective method. Same with the down thing. You can actually pre-piece from the top. Say you're on top of someone's box. I'll reset this whole situation. Say this is my enemy's box down here. He's got this whole thing here. I might come down from the side and I might go like this, like that. I pre-piece that, and then same thing here, pre-piece that. And then when they run out to that direction, I've already got all the pieces. I have the situation under control. I'll be able to get my attack on. So just learning to pre-piece from the bottom, pre-piece the bottom, learning to pre-piece from the left and the right, and pre-piece the top is going to make games so much easier. And if they don't go there, that's fine. You might end up there later on, and that might help you win the match later on. And just go for it. Even if they don't go there, it's okay. As soon as you're done pre-piecing, if they're not in there, go somewhere else. Try to follow and track them and learn where the opponent's going to go. And the 5th and final tip and trick for piece control in Fortnite is going to be practice makes permanent, not perfect. So that's something I wish I had have considered when I was learning to piece control in Fortnite. I didn't consider that practicing isn't going to necessarily make me good if I don't practice the proper ways and the proper methods. Now, some of the things you can consider when it comes to practicing makes perfect is practice using Radar's map. Radar's map kind of minimizes the mistakes you can make when it comes to practicing your piece control. It kind of forces you to be in certain positions, and it kind of walks you through the order in which things you should be doing. I'll leave the map code for his map in the description box below, as well as I'll post it up here on the screen. Along with that is practicing proper positioning every single time and practicing proper crosshair placement. Make sure you're not getting sloppy. So if you practice proper positioning, for example, you'll see a lot of people piece through a wall or piece through a window edit, which is great. But the problem is they're standing right in the center of the window edit, which is fine if your opponent's not paying attention to you, but it's a huge problem if they're literally waiting for you to make the edit with their shotgun out. So when you go ahead and piece someone through a window edit, make sure you're down to the side. You know, make sure you're behind cover. I have this wall covering me, so most of the time, or even editing on the left hand, or editing on the right hand side, so I have more cover when I'm piece controlling. Making sure you're in the right position. Making sure you have the right crosshair placement. Nothing's worse than when I go to piece someone up like this, and because I practice improper crosshair placement so many times, I accidentally make a door edit and unfortunately don't get that piece control off the way I would have liked. So practicing the proper crosshair placement, going slow at first, just making sure everything's done properly and making sure you're in the right position is going to make you such a better player in the long run. Another thing I have that a lot of players will do, and I do right now, which really sucks, is you need to avoid pulling out your pickaxe or shotgun or weapon in between edits. So for example, if I'm going to piece control someone and I have this wall, I build the wall, I edit the wall, I place the cones, and then I go ahead and place the walls, and then I take my shotgun out. That would be the proper order of operations. But a lot of people will take the wall, take their shotgun out, edit the wall, place the cones in the wall, and then take their shotgun out again. What that does is it causes a delay between the movement. It's different when you're actually trying to bait your opponent or something like that, but most of the times it's just a habit you build up, is taking out your shotgun between edits and things like that. Something to keep in mind. You might think you're not doing it, but go ahead and VOD review some of your gameplay. You might notice that you are taking your shotgun or pickaxe out in between every single piece you place or edit you make, and that can get you killed a lot more than you think. So hopefully these tips and tricks kind of help you guys get better at piece control. I know it's kind of general, but these things will definitely help you. Of course, I can show you a whole bunch of different drills and stuff like that, and I'm already working on stuff like that for you guys. But if you keep these in consideration when you're practicing your piece control, you'll definitely become a better Fortnite player and better at piece control in Fortnite. If you liked the video, please do consider dropping a like and subscribing, and as always, thanks for watching.